Happy Sunday. And I have a couple of blankets or towels handy. And we'll just settle in. Let your body just soften here. Find its way to ease here. Feel the way that you're respirating. Maybe offer a little awareness to the body temperature itself. We'll give ourselves about 30 more seconds here just to note how we're feeling this morning. And we're going to offer a little opportunity for a breath change with the intention of cooling the body down a bit. So the goal is going to be to kind of create a folded or rolled-ish tongue and draw our breath in across that. So kind of pursing the lips and allowing the shape of the mouth to kind of become tunnel-like. We'll draw our breath in. And then as you exhale, exhaling out through the nostrils. Almost like you're creating a straw in through the mouth, feeling the air as it comes across, as it brushes across the tongue. And then exhaling out through the nostrils. Let's just give ourselves just 20 more seconds, just feeling into this respiration cycle or this more conscious awareness of the way we're respirating, of the mechanism of respiration. And then with this, just kind of allow yourself the opportunity to feel the body temperature, feel the way that your body's receiving and giving breath. I'm going to offer callbacks to this particular respiration cycle as we go through practice, but if you want to let it go, if it doesn't feel like it's impactful for you, it doesn't feel like it's beneficial for you, you can ignore those. And let's take our left arm and take the left hand to the right shoulder. The left elbow kind of midpoint, we're going to grab that with the right hand and squeeze it towards the body first. Thinking about middle of the sternum pressure here. And then keeping the left hand on the right shoulder, we'll use the right arm to just lift that left up to roughly shoulder height. You can go higher if you want, but generally most of us can feel some kind of activation at shoulder height, and then we're just going to squeeze the scapula back. And note here how the slack between the two shoulder systems offers this variant of capacity. And at the same time, try to be as bilaterally balanced as we can be. And then we'll relax, let the palms face up, and just relax your arms and feel variance left shoulder, right shoulder. And then let's do the same thing to the second side. Right hand to left shoulder. Left hand grabs that right elbow. And we just squeeze that towards the sternum. And then we use that left arm to lift the right towards shoulder height and then squeeze the scapula back. And we just feel how those two mirroring systems, shoulder to shoulder, are operating differently with just a little angle change. And then we'll relax. Both palms face up. And we just breathe a little bit. Try to feel the entire shoulder system, the entire shoulder girdle relax. Maybe re-engagement with scapula retracting. And let's transition to hands and knees tabletop when you're ready. Just finding your way into a tabletop space, laying the fingers out nice and wide. And we're going to drop our belly with an exhale, lift the tailbone, lift the chin, and just feel this space for a moment. Draw some breath right into the diaphragm. And keeping in mind, you have this opportunity to draw this cooling breath in, sending that to the diaphragm. And then as you release, think about the shoulder girdle relaxing, like you're getting more depth across the shoulder girdle into the release. And really feeling the way that we're interacting with this upper abdominal region, diaphragm region. Gonna pull some stress out of the body here. And let's just give a couple more cycles. Just static positioning, focus on diaphragm expansion, potential focus on this cooling breath, potential focus on this release of stress. Keeping in mind that heat is certainly a stressor on the body, or temperature change or temperature regulation requirement is certainly a stressor on the body. Remember to sink in as you release those exhales, particularly if you're releasing through the nostrils. Next time you inhale, let's just bring the torso to neutral. Flip the tops of the feet if they're not already flipped and sink your way back into child's pose. There's this very undernourished and impoverished man who is walking through a market. And a lot of the vendors are apprehensive of this man. And in fairness, he's not there to purchase anything. He doesn't have the money to. He's there to see if he can find anything that has been dropped by people who are making purchases. A coin, a scrap of food, maybe a bag of fruit. And as it happens, on this day, he stumbles across a bag of plums, full to the brim. This has happened before, but it's infrequent. Give ourselves just 15 more seconds here. And when it feels appropriate for you, we'll pull ourselves forward to tabletop. And let's bring our hands maybe half a handprint closer. So if you're generally 4 hands, we're 3.5. Just a small, maybe an inch, inch and a half movement on each side. Maybe a little less, depending on your hand geometry. But we're going to bring the hands just a little bit closer together and then exhale out, round the back, tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone. And as you're doing this, really press down into the finger mounds and think about that apex of the spine architecture as the point of emphasis for that inhale breath in. If you're using that cooling breath, if you're feeling the breath come across the tongue, you draw that cool air towards the center of the body. And then as you're releasing the exhale, again, particularly if we're releasing the exhale through the nostrils, think about the arch becoming more intense. Almost as if the back of the forearms and the knees are coming closer together. The angle of the arch is getting steeper, and it almost feels like the space between the anchor points, our knees and our hands, is condensing. And we'll just work a couple more cycles of breath. Where we draw energy into the middle of the torso. And as we exhale, we feel the arc becoming steeper. Or we feel as if the arc could become steeper. Maybe one more cycle through here. And when it feels appropriate for you, we relax out of that arc architecture and extend our legs forward into staff. And from staff, just get your spine as vertical as it can be, and then take your left hand to the left side of your body, just behind the hips is perfect. And then right hand just finds the right leg somewhere. We're just going to rotate the body. So relatively straight spine here. The straighter the spine, the more length we can offer the torso. You can engage that back hand to help kickstand up the torso into more length, more depth. And so for a brief moment, this undernourished man is elated. He's found an entire bag of plums. But that elation is quickly interrupted as multiple vendors simultaneously point at him and start screaming for police help. We'll relax back to neutral. And then we're gonna do the same thing on the second side. Right hand right behind the hip or in that hip region. Left hand somewhere to the right leg. And we just rotate and rotate. And so very quickly, security forces come, surround this man, arrest him. He's pleading that he did nothing wrong. But all 4 of these vendors are screaming that he stole plums from them. He didn't. He found a bag of plums that someone had dropped. But no one's listening to that story. In fact, they asked him if he bought the plums. He honestly answers no. And then that's about all they listened to from his story. And he's taken into custody. When you feel balance left to right, we'll relax back to neutral and we'll just find our way into a forward fold. Taken into custody. And he is thrown into this cave. This cave, he is given this very heavy mallet and a relatively small chisel. And he's told he will be let out when the floor of this cave is perfectly flat. Even as the door was slammed shut and locked from the outside, he was pleading with his imprisoners that he had done nothing wrong. And that was true. He hadn't. Last 60 seconds here. Check in with the way you're respirating. See if that cooling breath is beneficial here. Maybe still a part of the practice. Maybe it's dropped off. Maybe you want to recheck in. And it feels appropriate for you. Let's bring ourselves back into a nice vertical spine. We'll grab our blankets or towels. And from a shelf fold, let's just go hot dog next to the left thigh, hot dog next to the right thigh. And then we're headed onto our backs. Nice little opportunity here to feel the neutrality of the spine. Give yourself the opportunity to really appreciate how the hips, the shoulders, and the back of the head are all on an equal plane. And at the same time, think about how generally when we're vertical, we may not think about our hips, shoulders, and head being on an equivalent and equal plane. I think if we were asked, we'd mostly think that. And yet when we get here, notice how different, for most of us, this feels. How unique this positioning feels. And if it doesn't feel unique for you, you have wonderful posture, and wonderful posture is amazing. When it feels appropriate for you and you feel ready for this, let's bring the bottoms of the feet together and let the knees fall out wide. Now, if the blankets aren't providing enough support, you can kind of roll and tuck them closer to the body. as you settle in here, think once again about that potential for the cooling breath, for a rolled tongue, drawing breath in through the mouth, and then slowly releasing that through the nostrils. Really giving ourselves the opportunity to receive a calming, cooling respiration in a very calming, stabilizing position. And so being locked in a cave or a crime that wasn't committed is not the ideal solution for this man who's been locked away. And yet, he has already been told of the conditions of his release. So he picks up this very heavy mallet and this chisel, and he starts striking at the floor, at this naturally uneven floor. And he starts chipping away pretty large chunks of rock, 2 inches, 3 inches, sometimes larger. As quickly, as aggressively, and with as much of his energy as he can dole out. All the while he's doing this, he's singularly focused. When the floor is flat, I will be released. And the idea of getting out of this predicament drives him to work harder, to work faster. And to be fair, there's not a lot else to do inside this cave. Feel that capacity to cool your body. Feel the capacity to relax your body. ourselves. About 90 more seconds here. Particularly if you're staying with this cooling breath, allow that rescan of the body's surface temperature, maybe the core body temperature. Think about drawing air in as if you are the straw, and then letting the air seep out of you. It is slowly, delicately leaving. Think about playing with the duration of your inhale and when it feels appropriate for you, we're going to bring our knees back to neutral. You can keep the blankets where they are for now. Let the hips just reorient towards this neutral alignment. And then let's take our left ankle across our right thigh. Little figure 4 orientation here. And we are going to bring the bottom of the left foot towards the right side of the mat. Now you have a blanket here that can be additional support. It can also just easily be removed. So make the determination whether the blanket is advantageous or not. The figure 4 just rotates in a way where the bottom of the left foot makes it to the floor. The left knee points roughly towards the ceiling or sky. And the right knee stays kind of as a trapping for the left ankle. So that we end up with this really nice hip ask. And this opportunity to get back into this cooling breath if that's advantageous for us. It's been a while since we've been in this particular twist, and it is one of my favorites. The more anchored you are in the left shoulder, the more relaxed you are across the shoulder girdle, the more impactful this is. Think about deactivating as much of the arm musculature as is possible and letting this big hip flexor musculature interact with the rotational ask. So after a few weeks of daily chiseling, this falsely imprisoned man is making pretty remarkable progress. Again, this is kind of an awake to sleep activity with not much else to do inside this cave. And so progress of some kind should be expected. But what he's come across is an obstacle that he had not foreseen. Most of the floor, and certainly all of the floor that he has worked, is now covered in these 1, 2, 3-inch chunks of stone. And the more that he works the floor, the more these chunks of stone pile up. And the more these chunks of stone pile up, the harder it is to access the floor to make it flat. He tried screaming out to ask for help to remove the rubble, but the door was never opened. And so his plan now is he clears a small section, chisels that area out. Eventually, the rocks cover that area, and he clears a small section. Eventually, the rocks cover that area. And that's been working, kind of. It's allowed him to work anyway. But the more he works, the less effective that is. As he starts clearing out areas, as the piling of rocks grows higher, he'll try to clear it out and they'll just continually cave back in on his working space. And at a certain point, even if they don't cave in right away, as soon as he starts chiseling, the vibration in the stone makes these areas he's cleared out just fill right back in. The more time goes past, the larger this problem becomes. And the larger this problem becomes, the more angry he becomes. The more dissatisfied he becomes with this punishment he's falsely been given. Check back in on the core body temperature, on the skin tone temperature, the external body temperature. Check back in on the way you're respirating, on the way your left hip flexor is experiencing the shape. And we'll give ourselves about 30 more seconds here on this first side. When it feels appropriate, we'll bring that left leg back across our body, let it come down and mirror the right. Ensure that your hip girdle is symmetrical with your torso, and just feel the bilateral variance between the left and right hip here. It's a long, active twist for the left hip. Let everything unwind and let your body come back into as much ease as is possible. Check in with the way your body is relaxing into the end of the exhale. We'll give ourselves just 15 more seconds just to rebalance here. And when you feel appropriate, Let's take our right ankle across our left thigh. And we're headed to the same thing. We have that blanket there if that's helpful. If it's not helpful, you can just pull that out of the way. And we're into this encouraged by the left knee twist with a nice anchoring of the right shoulder now. Thinking about the way that our right shoulder anchor allows for ease here. Checking in with that cooling respiration cycle. Thinking about the softness of the torso against the ask of the hip. As time goes on, what was once a 2 to 3 inch stone problem goes up past the ankles. And now walking around in this cave becomes uneven and dangerous. And worse than that, accessing the floor to make it flat becomes impossible. And for a long time, this falsely imprisoned man just wails. There's no hope at flattening the floor, and if there's no hope at flattening the floor, there's no hope at release. And after some days, maybe some weeks of wailing, it's hard to know exactly how long time is passing inside a cave. He gives up. He realizes he's not going to leave this place. And recognizing that he's not going to leave this place, he decides the ideal thing to do would be to make it as comfortable, as beautiful as he can make it. And so he starts working on some wall art. He has a chisel, he has a mallet, and he has a huge blank canvas of a cave. So he starts chiseling away very intricately, very delicately into the wall, this huge mural of a forest, a meadow, of animals he's seen, of his house. And this is slow, this is tedious, this is delicate work. And in many ways, he's learned some skills from all of the laborious, angry chiseling he's done on the floor. Check in with your respiration cycle, with the style of respiration. Are you cooling your body? How does the core body temperature feel? How does the external body temperature feel? We'll give ourselves about 60 more seconds here on this second side. And when it feels appropriate for you, we're going to bring that right leg back across our body. Oh, let your body settle back into this neutrality here. Feel the way the hip girdle can open up. Feel the way your body is able to receive the inhale breath here. All the way you're able to give the exhale breath. We'll give ourselves about 20 more seconds just to land coming out of those big hip involved twists. And then when it feels appropriate for you, let's walk our feet out to the width of the mat and let the knees fall in towards one another. And if the knees don't touch one another at the width of the mat, bring the feet closer together. We want the knees to connect once again. It's about deactivating our hips and letting that twist energy settle in. And we're not going to be here super long, but settle into a place where your body can be at ease. So pretty quickly, this falsely imprisoned man starts to experience something he didn't expect. He starts to look forward to picking up his mallet, picking up his chisel, and getting to work on this mural. It is a very different experience than the labor of anger he had with flattening the floor. He's given up on that dream of release. And he's now passionate about this beautification process, this mural he's creating for himself. And even though the work is much more tedious, is much more challenging, is clearly more intricate, his passion for this project is expanding as it goes along. And he sees little areas that he can go back and refine and upgrade. Last 20 seconds here. Feels appropriate for you, we're going to bring our knees out to ankle width and then bring our ankles back into hip width. Pull the thighs in towards the torso here. Give yourself a nice little squeeze. Feel the flexion energy in the spine as the knees come towards the shoulders. And then we'll relax our feet back down to the mat and just ask yourself if there's anything you need, if there's anything you want, if there's anything you could benefit from prior to Shavasana. And if there is, let's offer that to our body now. If we have everything we want, if we have everything we could need, if we're ready for some stillness. Let's find our way into some stillness. And let's drift into some ease. And so every day, this man will wake up and get to work on this mural. So after quite some time, this man finished this mural inside this cave, this mural that no one was ever really meant to see aside from him. And he still had this uneven floor covered in all these jagged rocks. And just for a moment, he stood back and he looked at this mural from end to end, and it was beautiful. And it brought this deep welling of emotion in him. We'll start to bring some movement to our fingers and our toes, to our wrists, our ankles, our elbows, our knees, shoulders and hips, neck and head, jaw, eyes, tongue. Eventually, the entirety of the body will move. We'll utilize that movement to transition our way into a seat. We will, from the seat, bring our spine nice and vertical, let the eyes close, bring the hands together, heart center. And as these emotions welled up in him, he went forward to kind of embrace this wall he's carved out. And as his body pushed up against it, the entire wall crumbled. And his arms reached through and into the forest and into freedom that had been waiting behind his work this whole time. Over the course of the next 7 days, can you remind yourself that any activity done without devotion can become entangling, and any activity done with devotion can become liberating, and see how that impacts your experience. Thank you so much for being a part of this morning's practice and for being you. Namaste.